Alright, hey guys, what's up? So again, another video. I feel really good today. It's awesome. I feel energized, I feel excited. I feel a lot more engaged. The past few days were a little bit down and sad and not so energizing. However, these phases, these situations, these days, they're necessary to implement all the things that you've been learning over the past few weeks, past few months, and your body needs time to adapt, right? And these things, they come in waves. I truly believe they come in waves, and the phases of reflection, sadness, heaviness, they tend to pave the road for a more excited and happy state of mind, right? It's like a wave, you know. After the trough, you have the peak, and life goes like that, up and down. And what you want to try to do is to minimize the amplitude, so you don't go extremely low and you also don't go extremely high. I mean, at least that has been my challenge, I think, because I'm a person of extremes, and balance is a more sustainable way to live your life, basically. I believe that. It's very exhausting to go extremely high and extremely low all the time. It's fun, but after a while you realize that it's not sustainable, or at least for me it isn't. So the thing I wanted to talk about in this video is I just watched a TED Talk, and there was this Shaolin monk, and he was talking about the 5 things, the 5 obstacles that get into your way whenever you are on your journey of continuous self-improvement, right? And so there is 5 different mental tricks, or 5 different hindrances, obstacles that we all find ourselves in whenever we are trying to move forward. And the story, like, I took out my notes a little bit because I think it's useful for me to talk about this in my own words, so it reinforces the message, and it's useful for you to hear another person bring their own perspective to the whole concept of this, right? So he starts with the story about a traveler who is living near a mountain, and every day he's wondering, oh, how would it be to be on top of there, to be on the top of this mountain? What kind of feeling would I have, and how would the experience be of walking there and seeing all these amazing views whenever I'm on top of the mountain? And then one day the traveler decides to actually go there and to actually want to embark on this journey to reach the peak of the mountain. And at the bottom he meets another traveler, the first traveler, and he asks the traveler, like, hey, how was your trip there? How did your journey go? And what were your experiences when you were at the top? And the traveler, he talked about his experience, and he talked about what it felt like to be up there, etc., etc. And the traveler who started the journey, who was contemplating to go to the top, he realized that, oh, well, now it's not necessarily for me to actually go there, to go to the top, because I already know what it's like. It's very challenging, there's a lot of obstacles, it's very exhausting, it's a very difficult journey. But he decides to continue going, to continue his journey. So he meets another traveler, and he asks again, hey, what does it look like there on top, and how were your experiences climbing this mountain, etc., etc. And the journey, actually, the story continues until the traveler walks all the way up to the top, and then realizes that all the things that all these travelers told him are interesting to know, interesting to talk about, but they are nothing compared to the real experience of actually walking the mountain and experiencing the feeling of bliss and peace whenever you reach the top by yourself and you're able to oversee the whole landscape, right? And this is a very powerful concept to contemplate, because you can read as many books as you want, talk to as many people as you want, try to know what something is like, but unless you actually go through it yourself, unless you experience it yourself, you will never really know what it feels like, or what it is to you, or how you experience the whole journey, right? So it's important that, yes, you can talk to people about how they got somewhere and what their experiences were, etc., because you will learn from it, and it will cause you to perceive different things along the way, right? If they tell you, oh, this is something that I think is important to keep track of, or be aware of this or be aware of that, then they can be very useful things to consider whenever you are embarking on your own journey, right? But you will never be able to fully know what it's like unless you experience it yourself. So that I thought was a very interesting story, and it is very true. Like when you read all the text of the great gurus or the great Buddhist monks, whatever it is, right? It's all this wisdom, and it can open your mind up to the possibility of receiving this and perceiving this in the real world, in your own life. But you will not know the truth inside yourself until you experienced it, right? It will open your perception to receiving these things in life, like the holiness of nature, for example, like the beauty of a tree or a river or the sun, whatever it is, right? But you have to like really experience it in order to make it yours, to know that what they talk about is actually true, you know? So I think that's very interesting to think about. And so the 5 hindrances that you will find yourself facing during your journey are, so the first is sensual desire, which basically means everything that you can touch, smell, hear, see or taste, you know? So the senses, the sensual input from the world is causing a sensual desire. Basically what it comes down to is addictions, you know? Addictions to food, addictions to stimulation, addictions to people, to relationships, all these things, they will prevent you from seeing clearly. They will distract you. Whenever you are on your journey to the top of the mountain and there is this amazing restaurant on the side of the road, and you smell the amazing food, and you go off course and you go there, and then you stay there, then you block yourself from actually finding the clarity that's on top of the mountain. So that is the first hindrance you will encounter on your journey. Then there is a second one. It's ill will, aversion. That's what he talks about. So basically it's resistance to a negative emotion that you're feeling. You're feeling sad, you're feeling angry, you're feeling anxious, you know, all these emotions that cause you to feel heavy or that cause you to suffer. By resisting these, you will see that it will prolong your journey. It will feel heavier. Every step will feel more like a challenge, right? And the more you resist it, the more these feelings will drag you down. So you want to allow yourself to feel these feelings and then continue walking, continue going forward, and realizing that you don't have to identify with these feelings, right? They're there, it's fine. It's like, oh, there is this bird flying next to me that's wonderful, or there is this ugly piece of wood and that I don't like, but I don't focus on it too much. I allow it to be there and I move forward. Then you have the dullness, the heaviness, which is basically your motivation. Are you motivated to keep going? You will find yourself in an impasse sometimes where you don't feel motivated, where you feel stuck. I've made a lot of videos talking about feeling stuck and how you can move past that, because I think it's very important to develop your own strategies and tools and skills to move past those in passes, right? Because if you don't, then you will keep yourself stuck there for longer than necessary. And in the beginning, it is actually necessary to keep yourself stuck there for a long time, because then, well, not always, but usually at some point you will become sick of it, and then you'll eventually take action anyways, right? So by practicing dealing with these situations, you will become better at it, and you will move on quicker. You will be able to let go quicker. You will be able to find yourself in a more empowered, productive state faster, right? You will spend less time in this unmotivated, sad, draining state of mind, all right? So then the fourth is restlessness. This is something that I think is absolutely worth mentioning, because especially these days, it's very common that people are so restless. I find myself in this situation very often. You notice that your mind is all over the place and you can't really focus, and you're going from here to there, and it's so difficult to actually like commit to something because you get so distracted, and then it causes you stress, and you're feeling anxiety, you feel anxious, and it's so chaotic, right? And this restlessness, we then try to get rid of it by doing something, or by like, you know, eating something, or by whatever it is, you know, trying to get love from somebody else, or attention, or cause drama, or, you know, because there is this restlessness inside us, and we want to channel it into something to relieve this anxiety. And it's important to catch yourself whenever you're feeling like that, to become aware that you are feeling restless. And then when you become aware, you can then decide, okay, let me calm myself down for a bit. Let's just go for a little walk, or sit down on the couch for 10-15 minutes and do nothing, you know. Relax, breathe, calm down. And then whenever you create a little bit of space, a little bit of peace, then you can consciously decide, okay, now I want to do this. Instead of being, you know, like a play ball of emotions, constantly looking for a solution to get rid of this feeling, just slow down a little bit, relax, think about it, observe your body, observe what is going on inside you, and then disidentify from this anxious feeling, and then make a conscious decision to take action towards something that you actually want to do, instead of trying to find a solution for this uncomfortable feeling. And then the fifth one actually is a progression of the restlessness. It's indecisiveness, it's skeptical doubt. That's what he calls it. And it's indecisiveness. So I also struggle with this sometimes when I feel restless, and I'm like, should I do this or should I do that, or maybe this is the wrong decision, and maybe it will turn out to be not the right thing to do right now, and I don't know what I want actually. And like, it's so chaotic, it's so unproductive, because you're stuck in this state of mind and you're not actually committing to a decision. So this ties into, for example, the fear of making the wrong decision and then regretting your choice later. I made another video about this. It's called "Regret, Is It Actually Real?" Or something along those lines. You can go watch it if you want. It's a good topic to think about and to really contemplate a little bit, because I believe that you can never make a wrong decision, or whenever you regret something, it's basically because you resist whatever is happening right now because of the decision you made, right? When you make a decision and it turns out to be something that you suffer from, well, then usually it's because you resist the consequences of your decision. When you allow them to be there, when you accept that you made the decision and that this is now the place that you find yourself in, and it allows you to navigate your own reality in a different way, then you will actually find that you will never regret your decision, or you will never feel regret, or at least a lot less than many people do. So the indecisiveness is as a consequence of the restlessness, you know, usually it is. And the same applies here, is that whenever you feel like you're indecisive, take a moment to relax, to calm down, to sit down and to really think about it for a while. maybe take out a sheet of paper and write down the pros and the cons of whatever decision you're contemplating. Sometimes it's a large decision, and sometimes it's something stupid like, oh, what do I want to eat, or where do I want to go, or what do I want to do right now, right? It's like, I don't really know. And then you're actually like staying in the same place. You're not really committing to anything, and it's better to actually make a decision and then navigate that reality rather than trying to keep the illusion of having all your possibilities open, if that makes sense, right? You can be like, oh, I want to eat a pizza and a lasagna and ice cream and whatever, and then I don't know really what. So you keep the illusion of having all three at the same time, and by making a commitment to one decision, you actually like lose all the rest. Yes, by making a decision, you say no to everything else. That is very true. But by not making a decision, you say no to making a decision. Does that make sense, right? So that causes you to stay stuck, to stay put, to not move, right? So you want to minimize the amount of time that you are restless and indecisive, and you don't want to minimize it by resisting it, because then it will probably become stronger and you'll find yourself even more restless and even more indecisive, right? You want to allow it to be there. You want it to fade by accepting that you feel like this, and you want to create some space to allow yourself to contemplate and to observe what's going on inside you, and to create some peacefulness, some rest, some tranquility. And then from that place you can make a conscious decision. And I believe that if you make a decision coming from that place, you will always make the right decision. And I don't necessarily like to speak in terms of always and never, but I do believe that if you really listen to your intuition, if you calm down and you listen to whatever is inside you, you listen to that voice, it will be the right decision for you in that very moment. And try to make the distinction between maybe an addiction telling you that, hey, you need another cigarette, or hey, you need another date, or hey, you need to send another text to someone to feel this love, to feel this connection, right? You want to go below that. You want to listen to yourself. Okay, what do I need right now, or what do I feel like would energize me and would really give me a good feeling? And a good tool that I mention in a lot of my videos is to make the list of things that you know make you feel good, which are energizing you, which are giving you a exciting feeling, right? Which are making you feel good about yourself during and especially afterwards. When you finish doing it, they will generate a sense of fulfillment, and they will make you feel energized. And these things, I believe, are the right things to do. And whenever you feel like you're struggling with making the right decision, just calm down, take a look at the situation, and feel inside yourself whatever is the right thing to do. And so this monk, he lists these 5 hindrances, and to him the solution is the rain. And basically what the rain is, it just flows and it washes all the unnecessary things away, and you cannot stop it. You just have to allow it. It's pouring down and it flows, and it will clear up all the fog. After the rain is over, everything will become more clear, and you will see that the right decision and the right feelings have always been inside you. And so it all comes down to, again, to the awareness. Which obstacle are you facing right now? Which obstacle is happening in your mind right now? Is it the struggle with an addiction? Is it the resistance to a negative state of mind? Is it restlessness? Is it indecisiveness? And I forgot the last one. Well, it's actually the third one. It's the dullness, the heaviness. Is it feeling unmotivated? Which state are you finding yourself in right now? Try to become aware. And then whenever you know which state you find yourself in, then you can create some space and make a decision that will push you forward, that will bring you into a state of fulfillment. And even if it's just a little bit, that's what matters. What matters is that you become aware and that you take action towards growing, towards improving yourself, right? Towards the good, towards the values that you want to represent every single day, just a little bit, every single day. And if you do that, the results over a large period of time will be amazing. They will be so transformative. You will look back at yourself a year from now and think to yourself, wow, I can't believe I found myself in that spot, and look at where I am at now. It's amazing. It really is. It's fantastic the way you can actually make things happen, the way you can decide, okay, I am going to go for what I want. And it's not necessarily that you have to judge yourself whenever you don't go for what you want and whenever you don't take what you think you deserve. It's not about that. It's more about realizing that, okay, I can focus my attention on something else. I can make a decision to do something that I know makes me feel good. I can become aware of the restlessness that I'm feeling right now. I can do all these things. And I actually have a sense of agency in all this. I'm not just a result of external influences or the result of my impulses and my instincts, like ruling my life, right? You have agency. You can make conscious decisions, and it all starts with the awareness. So that is what I wanted to talk about in this video. I thought it was a very profound speech. I might link it down in the description for you to watch it. I always think that these TED Talks, they're very condensed, because in this current society, people tend to want everything in bite-sized format. You know, they want a quick fix, the quick bit of knowledge, the quick piece of information, and that's all right. But I believe that there is way more value in actually really unwrapping and unraveling a whole topic by talking about it for a long time, because you will be able to see many different perspectives. And if you cram everything in a short amount of time, that leaves out a lot of details maybe that are also very necessary to create the whole idea, you know, to picture the whole idea. Because, for example, like if you are listening to a song, well, if you take out 1 second of that song, there is, you know, it's about the whole song. It's about the whole experience of the song. Or a tree, if you're just taking one twig, it's not the tree, you know. The tree, it takes up all the space and all this time to grow, and that's what makes the tree, you understand? So by trying to condense everything into short bits and pieces of information, sure, it can be useful to consume a lot of different schools of thought, etc., and expose yourself to different ideas. However, I do believe that it's also about the ability to dance with the specific ideas, you know, to dance with different thoughts, and to implement different ways to look at it, you know, to talk about maybe some related topics, because that's how our minds work, right? By relating things to one another and then creating connections to one topic, and then, you know, using that information to get more clarity on another topic. And I think it's way more satisfactory, if that's even a word, to go really deep into a specific subject, because it will be more profound, and you will be able to implement it better. I mean, I'm talking about myself right now. For me, it's I love to listen to a Joe Rogan podcast, for example, because it's such a long format and they talk about so many things, and usually about maybe one topic, and then they go off track and they go into something else, and then they tie it back into the main topic, and like it creates so much variety, and you will be able to grapple with a specific topic in a much broader sense. And I think that's it's very useful to learn, right, and to really experience these thoughts and this wisdom. So yeah, that's all I have to say on this topic. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for looking inward. Thank you for making yourself and thus the world a better place, one step at a time. And as always, thanks for watching. Talk soon, guys. Bye.